In the garden where the green leaves sway, see bunnies rolling up, we light it all way. Mr. Guinness got the bongs, we puffin' all night. Talking cultivation, yeah, we're feeling alright. Light it up, feel the vibe, let it be known. Garden Cultivation Network, we on the scene. Rolling that green, living out the dream. Chatting about the strains, how to plan it right. Join us every week, yeah, we light up the night. Wednesday to Friday, we keep it alive. Cannabis talks, everybody's feeling high. Sharing secrets of the grow, it's a sacred art. In this cultivation game, you gotta play your part. Keep it real, keep it tight, watch the plants grow. Garden Cultivation Network, we on the scene. Rolling that green, living out the dream. Chatting about the strains, how to plan it right. Join us every week, yeah, we light up the night.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Yes,
What
yes.
a week it's been. So last Wednesday we had the one and only Mr. Chad Westport. So that was a lot of
Yeah.
fun as usual.
It's always a lot of fun sitting down with Chad. I always learn so much, I always laugh so much, and I always hear great stories. He's got a lot of interesting things that have happened in his life, so it's nice that he comes and shares them with little old us.
And and he's got the nicest hair over on Instagram and YouTube.
Yes. Yes, he does. I mean, mine's mine's pretty nice, but it's not Chad Westport nice.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, if you did miss the episode, you could go back and rewatch it or head on over under Garden Cultivation Network over on Spotify.
Yes, yes. But tonight, on this amazing, wonderful premiere that we have scheduled for all of you, we have
Yes.
Mr. Yellow Skunk Farms. And we get to learn all
Yes.
about the regenerative ecosystem that he has created in his indoor garden, which I'm super, super excited about. So
I know. I cannot wait to learn and hear more. So, how about we just jump right into it?
let's go.
Great. So, thank you so much for joining us tonight. For those who don't know, we have Josh from Yellow Skunk Farms. So if you
Yes.
would like to give yourself maybe a little brief introduction on who you are and what it is you're known for.
Sure, my name's Josh. I'm creator of the indoor ecosystem, I guess you could say. I really haven't gave it a name yet, but the indoor ecosystem is good enough for me. But we're out here in Virginia, in the Tidewater area. And yeah, we've been doing this for almost a year now, coming up on close to a year that the
Nice.
ecosystem's been running. So it's
It's
definitely
it's
learning.
really
Oh,
it's really cool. Like I've been following along. I don't know if I have been for the entire time, but I've definitely kind of gone back and caught up over the last few months for sure.
Yeah, sure.
And it's been a interesting journey to say the least. Watching this
Yeah,
thing come together and leaks getting fixed here and there and different, just the trials and tribulations that you've kind of come across doing this. And it's for sure the very, very first one that I've ever seen, and probably anybody in the chat as well. So kudos to you for taking that step and doing that.
I appreciate it. Yeah,
yes.
it was something in my head that I've had for a couple years, but it morphed into what you see today. It didn't really start like that in my head. It like
Yeah,
just kind of grew and grew the more I got into it. Because it's the first time I've ever done it. Never tried to build anything like it before. It's just
right.
something I kind of drew up in my head, and I was like, let's see if I can just build this out because I knew I needed more space. So I was growing beforehand. I would grow
Yeah,
for about 2 years. I grew right in. If you follow my page, I kind of, that was my whole thing. I wanted to record it for myself. I never really did it I wasn't doing it for anybody else but myself, to be honest with you. When I
Yeah,
started,
it wasn't the whole social media thing. It was
no, no,
your
it
own
never.
documentation. Yeah.
No, I never thought I'd be sitting here talking to you, like
Yeah.
on podcast, being on podcast. But I mean, it's grown into, and it's actually pushed me to learn natural farming and where and how natural farming's come from, and
Yep.
basically learn how, like COVID, that's where it all started. Am I going to be able to go get my medicine? Am I going to be able to find my medicine?
Right.
You
And not
know,
only
that's,
that, but like you're talking about the natural farming. So not only that, but are we going to be able to get our nutrients, whether it's amendments, whether it's bottled nutrients, whatever that is. So with natural farming, you don't really need nutrients at
no,
all. You
yeah,
can,
exactly.
everything is done at home. It's like a natural home remedy. We make these things.
Yeah.
So
It's
I
like
think that's
herbalism. It's like herbalism. When you look at people who do herbs, they're growing their herbs in the garden and they're coming in and they're making their
exactly,
tenuards and they're doing their thing, and that's their medicine. And,
yeah,
and I wanted to build something that you could pretty much grow anything in. You know what I mean?
right.
Like it
Yeah,
wasn't really focused towards I mean, it was. Don't get me wrong. It was focused towards cannabis, but in my head, I was like, I could grow tomatoes in this. I could grow
oh, sure.
kale, and anything really I want in this, I could probably grow
Yeah,
as long as I dial it in properly. And that's where the horizontal soil system turns. That's really how all this indoors thing happened.
yeah.
When I
For
learned that,
for anybody that doesn't know, can you explain horizontal soil? Can you explain what that is?
sure, sure. I watched a video on it was on Future Cannabis Project, and it was a guy, Leighton Morrison. He was the first time I ever heard about it. Now, I know in soil science, as you dig deep into soil science, this is well known. It's been well known. It's not something he invented.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
just where I heard it first. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So as I dug deeper down the wormhole, I was like, "Holy shit! This could actually work if I use basically the concrete slab in my in my garage as basically my bedrock. So I'm treating the concrete slab as bedrock. Now we just build from there. So if you look at a horizon, you just Google soil horizon,
Right.
and you see the layers. And I talk a lot about layers in my YouTube videos. It's all about layers. And you
Yep.
stick a shovel in the ground, and you're going to go through layers. It's no
Well, it's like
perlite.
when you see the glass and people put
Yeah,
the layers in there and you can
exactly,
actually see it. Yeah.
exactly. And if you look at if you go as deep as looking into a microscope, you know, there are layers. Like each turn of the knob, you go deeper and deeper and
Yeah.
deeper, and these are layers. Where everything is different. There's different things going on in different layers. There's different
Yeah.
habitats going on, different things living. There's a
Yeah.
clay layer. You dig down most anywhere on the planet, you're going to find clay.
Yeah.
Some
Eventually
sort of clay.
somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be red, it's going to be gray, it's going to be, all these different colors, depending on where you are. Around where I am, I have a lot of red clay, hard
Okay.
packed red clay.
Yeah.
That really, that's what, and I also live on a freshwater reservoir. So this is where my grandparents actually grew up here. My grandfather lived right down the street. My great grandfather owned a lot of property around here. They were in the timber business. Um,
Nice.
so my grandfather built the house I'm in now in like 48, something like that. The garage I'm in is like built same time, you know what I mean? So that's how
Yep.
it's just a
That's so
slab of concrete with some block walls with an A-frame. It's 500 square feet. That's all it is. So I
cool.
built this on top. So basically built a sandbox. Okay.
It's a
So
big
with
old sandbox. Yeah.
the old sandbox, and then layered, then put the layered, I would recommend a rubber lining if you're going to do this.
Yep.
Um, So then comes the next layer. So the bedrock, then your rubber lining, and then your next layer is going to be like your pea gravel. So you're going to basically build your boulders in sizes. So you're going to have like a big, like maybe not a little bit bigger than a pea gravel, a little bit of like kind of like a granite rock, like you would find in a driveway. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That size
Like
of a
a
rock.
3/4 crush or like a
Yes.
gravel. Yeah.
Mhm. And then you're just going to build layers from there. You're going to do the big rock, then a little bit of pea gravel, then you're going to go into your sand and your silt and your clays, then your organic matter, and then your mulch layer, basically. So these are layered soil system. It's organic is your O layer, is your organic layer, and then it. And to be honest with you, I've looked at multiple different science, different explaining layers, and I found multiple different explanations. Like everybody says the organic layer, then some people say there's an E layer, then an A layer, then an O layer. I mean, then an A, E. Then I've seen B. I've seen a couple of other going on down, depending on how graphic you want to be. But in this situation, I'm only dealing with the bedrock, then the pea gravel, then the clay. The clay is very important. That layer of clay is very important. Then the sand, silt, and clay from the reservoir creek. So this is creek sand and silt, freshwater creek sand and silt. And if you stick it, your shovel down in there, and it is a lot of organic material on top of that. So what this is this is the funk that you're going to smell in a swamp, basically. Yeah. So you walk into a swamp, you're going to stick a shovel down in, and you're going to go, and it's going to smell.
Bunny wouldn't be able to do this. I got her to do an organic grow one time, and she said she loved absolutely everything about it except for the gnats and the stink.
Yep. Okay. Well, there's an easy solution to this.
You're muted.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah.
Mind you, my outdoor, I use old marsh soil, and there's a big difference for sure.
Yeah.
There's a big
outdoor. It's fine.
There's a big problem with this because it's all anaerobic and things. That's the smell that you're smelling. It's funk. It's the funk. This is what we need to get rid of. And this is where Leighton Morrison came in. And I heard him say, he was describing this sand and this silt and this clay. And I really didn't understand what he was talking about until I went down to the reservoir and I stuck a shovel in the ground, and I was like seeing the layers. And I was like, oh shit. Yeah. It's a real fine, it's you can see it in colors. And it's the same sand and silt, but the colors are different. So it's the same particle sizes, but you're seeing clay layers and you're seeing organic layers that are probably thousands of years old. You know what I mean? That are just deep down in these layers, and all that biology, that aquatic biology. There's funk in there too, but we need to get rid of that. So all I did was just fill buckets up of that sand and silt, bring it up and spread it out on a tarp, or you can spread it out and let the sun bake it out. The sun turns it into like crystal clear. I mean, all the bad stuff goes away, and what you're left with is just pure sand, silt, clay, and organic matter.
Wow.
And
so you really went to lengths, like great lengths for this. Above and beyond
what a lot of work. It was a lot of work.
Above and beyond what people have actually seen. Like, we only really see the garden, and what happens in the garden. There's a lot more to it that you've done. That's
well, the trick was that I really wanted for it to be functional. Like, I could have built a box and built walls, rock walls, and filled soil up, and then just had to water, just like I would if I just would have had more space to have to take care of and have to water. That's what that in my mind was like, that's just a hassle. I can't even keep a 4x4 bed watered properly.
Right.
Hand water. without getting anaerobic, without getting hydrophobic pockets in it. You know what I'm saying? I'd get these
Yeah.
dry pockets, especially after you cut, and then keeping it moist and keeping your soil hydrophobic.
I think
Without
that's where a lot of people actually fail. Is between
yes,
the
they do.
runs. There,
Yeah,
there's
well,
work to do between when you're running a living soil bed. There's absolutely work to do. Like if you're doing your cover crops, you gotta let it grow, chop it, bury it, add your more layers. Like if you watch like the
Yeah.
Mendo Dope
layers,
ones, they're always talking
layers.
about the lasagna, the layers, keep adding on to it, and they chop and drop and layer everything.
Yes.
So yeah, it's
Yeah,
pretty
that's
cool.
that's what it's all about. In nature, that's what I kept hearing over and over on these forums and on these YouTube channels that I'm listening to is that a lot of them for natural farming. Like I was starting to get into not so much the cannabis aspect, but focusing in on like Dr. Elaine Ingham's Soil Food Web
Right.
and Matt Powers and listening to scientists talk about soil science and
Yeah.
how the soil actually works. And then it was
Yeah.
microbes. And then I found Marco is growing on Instagram. And then I saw his grow on he has another site called Cannabis Naturally. And he has a
Okay.
4x8 bed set up on a plane. And then he has like a sink, like a kitchen sink, but it's industrial size. And it's
Okay.
and it's and it's in layers. So he's got a small tank, and then he's got a big tank, and then he's got a bigger tank, and he's got this hose running out to the top, and it's like watering his bed from the top of all this water,
Yeah.
and it runs down the plane and down into a bag, and then he's got a pump down, and he pumps out all that excess water back up into a
Yep.
smaller tank with pea gravel, and it's different, all these layers of gravel and pea, and he's got fish in the bottom tank, so he's got this whole ecosystem off to the
Yeah.
side where he's
And they're all feeding each other.
Crazy.
yeah, and it's all feed each other, and I'm like, holy shit. I was like, you mean these plants can handle that kind of water? I was like, in the soil, but then it clicked with the horizontal. He had it set up in the horizontal soil system, but it was also on a plane. And what the horizontal soil system does in a nutshell is it gives the water, the excess water, a place to go and hang out
Yeah.
without submerging the organic matter, your soil, in water. So that's where the clay and the sand and the silt layer comes in. That separates. It's like if you're
Which
growing in
makes
a grow
sense.
pot. In a grow pot, they use a piece of plastic down there,
Yep.
and you can put soil in it, and you can put a tube in it, and then it fill the tube with water, and it wicks the
Yep.
water up. The soil wicks all.
Yeah.
Well, that works because of that piece of plastic separating the soil
Between the
from the
water.
reservoir.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what the sand and silt does in nature. Same thing.
Gotcha.
So
That's
I just
cool.
use that sand and silt as that layer down there to separate my soil from the reservoir. And that's really the
Nice.
trick.
Well, and
Once
not
once
only
you
that, but
do
then that stuff catches everything that's going through because it's filtering that water
the
every
filter,
single
the
time it
giant
goes through
filter.
that.
Yeah.
It's a big
Yep.
filter for the water at that point. And so
Correct.
it's taking anything that's in that water out, keeping it there for the plants. And then
Correct.
that water moves on and then comes back full of goodness again. And it just
Correct.
keeps going around in a circle. That's
Correct.
so cool. I mean, I can believe it because I mean, as humans, we've done some pretty amazing things, but listening to you kind of talk about this is the true way to mimic Mother Nature. This is the
Yeah.
Yeah.
closest thing that I think I've ever seen. We all talk about, oh, we're trying to mimic Mother Nature
You
inside
haven't
with,
even heard the good part yet. You haven't even heard
oh,
the hard.
That
now
was
I'm
the
excited.
easy part. Just wait.
Yeah, that was the easy part. That wasn't even the hard.
Now I'm excited.
That didn't keep me up at night. That wasn't the part. I knew that would work. The hard part was getting the proper amount of water to wick into the soil pockets, and
Right.
into those soil pockets. and get it to spread out to keep these hydrophobic pockets from happening. And the only reason to keep a hydrophobic pocket from happening is to keep it moist, keep it wet, but don't keep it too wet.
There's a
there's a
line. There's a fine line.
there's a fine line, and it's about a 70%. You can actually be more than you think if you have the biology in the soil working. Everything needs moisture, everything needs water, everything needs to ingest it that's living down there.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
the more life you have, the more water you're absorbing. Okay, so
Sure.
even the roots are absorbing it, but it's the life down there that really needs that moisture.
Yeah.
Everything comes to life when it has that moisture. So if I can maintain that moisture all the time, like 100% of the time, the biologist just explodes.
It never dies off. It's just
It never dies off.
growing.
And you're getting aquatic. So here's where we merge aquatic with terrestrial. And this is where I'm trying to merge excuse me, the terrestrial with the aquatic. So it's that fine line there where everything really happens. So
Yeah.
that's where
Now, do you have a way that you test that? Like, do you have like a moisture meter or something like that you use at different areas to make sure that it's still doing what you're?
this is where it got complicated. So this is where I was having issues. So if you go back in my Instagram, I'm posting updates once a week or maybe twice a week in some instances, especially where I get around day 300 and around 260, around 260 to 317 is where my brain was, just overloaded. I didn't think it was going to work, where I thought I bit off more than I could chew, so to speak. And I was like, maybe there's a reason why nobody's ever done this.
Right.
Why I've never seen it. I was like, I kept flooding the system. So I set the system up. If you see in my videos, you'll see a hole down there, and that hole goes all the way to bedrock. That's basically my trap hole. That's where I can suck out water if it fills up. Okay, so everything runs like Marco had a plane. So that's what I did. I basically set the box up on a slight 1-inch plane from one corner to the other. This gives me that slight water run to this corner of where I want it to all run to. Okay, so everything can run underneath the pond. So the pond actually sits on top of the horizon, or on top of the I can't remember the damn name of it. The A layer, I think it is. Anyway, it sits on top of that pea gravel. All right, so it's packed down in there so tight it sits on top of that pea gravel. This allows all the water to go run underneath of everything and not get trapped anywhere. So everything can run all the way down to this corner of the bed.
Yeah.
So this was early on when I first turned the pump on and start running. I was like, oh, it's doing great. It's doing great. It took 10 days. It took 10 days for it to just all get down there and just flood the system and fill the reservoir up to the clay pot. I mean, it filled it up, dude. And I was like, holy shit.
Wow.
Something's leaking. Like I'm leaking somewhere. There's no way that there's that much water should be down there. I was like, flooding the system. I can't put plants in a system like this. It'll flood it. So I have to suck it all out. I turn the pump off. I suck it all out with the vacuum, with the shot vac, the reservoir. I just keep doing it until it doesn't keep coming back. Okay.
Right.
Then I have to suck all the stuff out of the creek. Okay, with the shot vac.
Oh.
Keeping in mind that this took 10 days to fill up, and now you got to clean it all up,
take it
clear
out.
it all out. Yeah.
And I did all that in one day. Like I was doing this daily. I was making a video every day, making my progress, but I wasn't wasn't posting it on Instagram at this point. I was just saving these videos. So I do have all these videos where I'm just racking my brain. Most of the time, I'm just sitting there thinking. I'm sitting there in the chair, just trying to figure out what the problem is. So
Yeah.
long story short, I sealed everything again with pond shield. So the pond is just nothing but masonry mix, with a rock formation, the mason mix all around, and then you smooth out the mason mix, let that cure for a week, and then we coat that with stuff called pond shield, and it's just a 2-part epoxy. It's fish safe. The pond
So it's like
guys.
a permanent pond liner.
Correct.
Okay.
Well,
That's cool.
that's the permanent pond liner in the pond, and I thought I had a leak in the pond. I was like, "There's no way this is leaking out the creek. It has to be a leak in the pond." So I sucked it all out. Pond shield these shit out of. I mean, I put 7-8 layers of it. I was like, and then I let it cure for 24 hours, like it says. Put the water. I was like, "There's no fucking way this stuff is gonna."
It's not leaking.
I got heat lamps
Yeah.
on it. I mean, I'm cooking this stuff overnight. I'm making sure it's rock solid.
Yeah.
Fill it back up. Same fucking problem. It instant fills up, man. I mean, it fills up so
But at
damn.
least at that point, there's absolutely no way that
It's
pond is
not the
leaking
pond.
anymore. Yeah.
That's what my thought was. I'm gonna troubleshoot this all the way around. Okay, that's what my thought process was. So I'm gonna start with the pond, wherever the water is. Somehow it's filling up the reservoir. So I turn it back on, and it didn't take 10 days. It took 2 hours, and it flooded right on up. And I was like, "What the?" I was like, "Okay." Sucked it all back, and not the pond. I left the pond. I just turned the pump off, filled the pond up all the way to the line, and let it set overnight. And when I came back, the pond was still same amount. And I was like, "Okay, it's not the pond leaking." I know. I turned the pump back on. Water. I was like, "Okay, it's somewhere in the creek."
Yeah.
So then I suck everything, all the pea gravel, all the sand, silt, and clay has to come out of the creek again. We pond shield that all again. I pond shield that creek 7 times. Now I filled it up, took it out, filled it up, took it out, filled it up, took it out. I did this 7 times. Just to make a long story short, in between this 7 times, I'm coming in the house. I'm in almost tears. I'm telling my wife, I'm like, "I don't think I can do this. I think I'm just going to have to just let the damn thing flood, put a pump down there, and just keep pumping water out the damn back door or something. I don't know how it's getting it."
Yeah.
So I finally watched the video again of Leighton doing his horizontal soil system. He's like, before he starts doing all this, he's talking about how much the stuff wicks water. He's like, "How much tremendous, you can put this stuff in a bucket, put a water hose to it, and just keep filling it up, and it'll fill up. And then once it's filled up, once that sand and silt clay, that mix, that good mix that you find at a creek, you can only find that mix at like a freshwater creek or a beach, like in a creek area, stream. Anyway, so that water, once it fills up, it'll push the rest of that water up, and that water will sit on top of that sand and silt. You can dump it out, and it'll push the water up a little bit with that pressure, that water pressure that was sitting on top of that sand and silt will push more water on top. You don't have to it'll just force it out. And I did that in the bucket, and I was looking at it, and I was like, "Holy shit." I dumped the water out, and more water would just come on back up. It would just keep filling up. And I was like, pour water out, more water would come up. Pour water, more water would come out. And in my head, I was like, that stuff's wicking so much water that the pressure is pushing that all that excess water that the water was holding on top. all that excess water is being forced to the top now. That sand and silt was it was holding too much, and that excess was pushing the rest out until it got to a certain point where it didn't push out anymore. It stayed completely moist, but it didn't release that moisture anymore. And in my
Yeah.
like, holy shit, I was like, that's my fucking. I was like, I got too much sand, silt. I got too much of this stuff in the creek. And that sand and silt was just wicking water up over the creek wall, down the side of the creek wall, down and filling up things.
Yeah.
And when I turned on the pump and the water started flowing on top, the excess water was being pushed up out of that creek bed and going over the creek wall and down the creek wall and filling up the bed and filling up the bottom. And I was like, okay.
So at this point, like you said, there was a point where you were going inside, you were so frustrated. What kept you going? What kept you being like, okay, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to find this problem and I'm going to deal with it.
Well, a lot of it was just I knew that the problem was there, and I knew what the problem was. I knew I'm a really good problem solver, so I knew that I wasn't going to give up on the problem. I was just going to try and figure. And like I said, if I got to a certain point where I just couldn't figure it out, I was just going to put a pump down there, and I was just going to remove the sand and silt that's coming up over the wall, and I would just have to hand water my soil beds. But that's what I was trying to avoid. I was trying to avoid yeah. So once I figured out exactly what was causing the water to get over the thing, now the next problem was like, how do I fix that? And how do I get that water to not just come over the creek wall and drop straight down the creek wall down into the reservoir and bypass my soil? And the answer was that sand, silt, and clay. So I just extended that silt and clay layer. What I had to do was remove a lot of the organic matter out of it. So it's the organic matter that actually is wicking the water and wicking a lot of it. Like it was wicking so much water that, there wasn't a whole lot of water left in the creek that it was wicking so much water. So I had to remove a lot of that organic matter from the sand and silt.
So at this point, you have no live animals in there, correct? Like no fish, no turtles, nothing like that.
I put in a crawdad that I found up in the mountains. I caught a crawfish, and I put a crawfish in there. And this is when I had water. This was after, I'd filled up the pond and I knew it wasn't the pond.
Once you knew it was, yeah.
And this way he had a place to live. That was the only thing that I'd put in there other than water and some sticks and the pea gravel and all that other stuff that goes at the bottom. But yeah. So yeah, the creek, there was nothing in the creek. I hadn't put any type of live animals in the creek or anything like that at this point.
Thankfully.
Yeah. Well, I knew better. I wasn't going to do that till I actually turned it on and I knew that I wasn't going to be sucking anything else out. But it was actually
building this. Did you, when you had this in mind, building this, is that what you had in mind, was to bring in like fish and turtles? So you were prepping it for that as well.
I was trying to replicate. I was trying to just, I had the 4x4 on my Instagram. I had the 4x4 bed, and that's why organically. That's why you see me with Jay Blaze's shirt on. He had me on the show before I built any of this. Like, so he saw something. I don't know. Well, I had jars. I had placed these big, huge jars that I'd found here on my granddad's property. So back in the day, they just take trash and throw it in the woods. There were no dumps. So if they couldn't throw it away, they just, throw it down the hill. So I'd be walking down through the woods and I find these big, huge glass 1-gallon jars. and they had
Yep.
life growing, and they had ferns, and they had a crack. One of them had filled with dirt, but it had a crack in it, and so the top was open, and it had this moss and grass and ferns, all like a little terrarium. But it was in the woods, and it had been there for like 80 years, like 70 years or something like that. And I was like, holy cow. And I pulled it up out of there, and I brought it in, and I put it in my bed in that 4x4. And then I went outside and I found another one. And I was like, holy shit, these are all over the place. So I had 3 or 4 of these jars sitting in my bed. And then I had some Virginia creeper. It's like kind of like an ivy here in Virginia. It's called Virginia creeper. It looks like poison ivy. So everybody thought it was poison ivy. So that kind of got some attention. To like, look at this dude growing poison ivy in his bed with his cannabis. So I got it looks like poison
Interesting
ivy.
combination.
I got these jars sitting in the bed in these corners, and nobody really understood what was going on. And I was kind of, to be honest with you, I didn't really know what was going on. I was creating. So that's kind of what I do. I like to create things like in my head, and then put them together, and kind of like an artist, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I don't consider myself an artist by no means, but anyway.
Looking at that garden that you have, I do. I personally
Yeah,
think you
I
to be
think
an
a lot of
artist by
people would
looking at
disagree. They would
what you have
agree
done.
that you
I
are.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
I've never been to
For
school
sure.
for any of this. I'll tell you that.
I don't honestly, I think the best education is by doing
I
a lot of
agree.
the time.
100%.
You got a lot of your education watching and listening to
100%.
some great people, like some super,
Yep.
super knowledgeable people, scientists, and you've just kind of taken that and done it.
Yeah,
And
like I said, I listened to everybody. That's what I wanted to do, and that's what I encourage everybody to do. I like all grows. Like I consider
yeah,
my grow nowhere. I mean, it's just getting started, and it's all an experiment. It was just an
yeah.
experiment to begin with. I didn't know this thing could crash and burn. I don't think it will at this point because I have a really good handle on it, and I know
Well,
exactly
it's
on.
over 600 days now, correct?
That's when we starting the build. So that's when I
Okay.
actually put the box together. I
Right.
started
Okay.
the
I see.
water. The water's been flowing since day 317. So
Okay.
almost 300 days. So January 17th, I think, will be 1 year that the actual water and everything's been flowing. Now I've had plants in there since like December 22nd, just before Christmas. I left for Christmas vacation. That's how all this started. I left for Christmas vacation. I came home and I made a video and I posted it on Instagram, and it went viral. And it got like 2 million, 2.5 million views in
Yeah.
like 10 days. And I got like 50,000 followers in like,
There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
yeah, it was crazy, and it's been crazy, and it's all happened so fast, and that's what
Yeah.
I keep emphasizing to other people and a lot of people that I talk to. I was like, look, this is an experiment. I don't know a lot of the questions that a lot of people have. You know what I mean? Now I am
This is
getting
new.
better. I'm getting
But
better.
give yourself 5 years in this, and you're
Yeah,
gonna be the guy that everybody's going to for this.
yeah. I hope so.
Oh
People are
yeah.
gonna look back. People are gonna look at you like a Clackamas Coot, or like some of these other people.
I
That's
Yep.
appreciate that.
you're the first person I've ever seen do this, and I'll vouch for everybody in the chat too. Though you're probably the first person they've ever seen do this too. And
Yeah, well, I went hunting for information on something like this, big time. Like I was,
oh, I can
and the
Yeah.
only
imagine.
thing I could find that even remotely close was outdoors, of course. But I'm finding
Mhm.
like a lot of like the pond guy, but all these guys are using filtration systems. In
Yes.
these outdoor ponds, you really do need a filtration system. Um, but there are a few that I found that did not have a filtration system, and I was like,
Right. And
"There you go." I
they're
was like,
using more of I can't remember what it was called. I'll call it like an ecosystem because
"They're
when I
using
had
well,
my when I had
yes,
my outdoor pond,
yeah,
I did the exact same thing. I didn't quite go down through the wormhole as much as you have for sure, But I I was looking at the prices of filters and stuff like that for my pond, and
Yeah,
it was outrageous. I was like, there is absolutely no way I am paying that to buy one of those at
yeah,
all. So I
yeah,
built my filter, but it was built out of gravel and dirt and sand, like you're talking about. It was just, it
yeah,
came in through the bottom and it rose up through and it came out the top and
yeah.
back
Yep.
down through a waterfall back into the pond. And
That's
that
it.
was my first understanding of an ecosystem, and that was before I grew, but that was kind of, they were saying, you do it in a filtration system. Well, you have to clean that. So you're taking that life out and you're killing it, you're getting rid of it, and you're starting over again. But your pond needs that to be a healthy, thriving pond. So,
Yeah, you need that biology. And see,
Mhm.
this is where the aquarium came into play. This is where like my experience with saltwater aquariums came into play, and where the sub tank in a saltwater aquarium. Anybody's ever had a saltwater aquarium knows that your sub
yeah,
tank, the tank underneath your tank,
yeah,
is where all the life is. That's where the magic happens. The beauty is up top, but everything else is happening to make it pretty underneath. It's
yeah,
kind of like and that's when natural farming came into play, and I was like, damn, you know, the microbes, and then that's when I started listening to people talk about the microbiome and the human microbiome.
I was gonna ask you if you went down that road, if you
Oh
if
my
you had
god!
made it there yet.
Oh, I
When you were
was down.
talking about
We're
the
talking,
soil
yeah,
food web, I was wondering if you went down as far
yeah.
as to get into like your gut health and stuff like that,
Get
because I'm
into
very much,
Steiner and the holistics, the Steiners, and
yeah,
you can go. There's so many different ways, because nature is so fucking crazy, but
Yes.
yet
it
it's
really is.
so fucking simple.
Yeah,
And that's what I'm trying to get to people. And you can make it it's so complicated. You can't. I don't know. It'll ever be figured. AI will probably get to that. I mean, no human brain would have ever been able to figure out what exactly is going on in the soil.
no,
What I mean?
never.
But AI may figure it out. Who knows? I'm not going to say that you
They
don't,
might.
because now we have AI that can figure out shit. They're actually figuring out
Yeah.
proteins, and they're unraveling proteins and all this different shit, and it's crazy. But all that ties back to the soil, and if you're biblical, from dust to dust,
Yep.
if you tie back into different things, it all feeds back into you know the cycle, the carbon cycle, the nitrogen, all these cycles, these layers.
Yeah.
So it boils down to your gut health, and that's that's where I had issues. That's where my medical issues come into play, was my guts. I didn't
Okay.
figure out what my problem was, because I couldn't hold anything in. Everything was just flowing through me. Everything, I lost weight,
Right.
stress. It was just,
Yeah.
from COVID to medical issues to family issues. It was just over. Business took off. So I had
Yep.
champagne problems, but I had all these other problems that were holding me back. And it was
Yeah.
Yeah.
just, it was just bad timing for everything.
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
pushed me into a good time. All those, it led me down this hole where I am now. I'm just like, holy shit, all this turns into gut health.
Yeah.
What you put in the soils, what you take out, what you eat, the microbes that you're using matter.
Yep.
Because
Yeah,
there's
they
all
do.
different types of microbes. There's good, there's bad, there's ugly, there's evil, there's,
Yep.
Yep.
all this ties into the same thing. You know,
Enzymes and microbes and everything feeds this and that, and
yeah.
it's
But
insane,
it's,
really.
it's so
I did a video a
simple.
couple weeks ago on microbes and how
Yeah.
enzymes feed, it's crazy. The
It's
enzymes break everything down, and then the microbes can now take that up as sugar, and it's just
Yes. It's so
that's a whole nother
extremely
show right
complicated.
there.
The photosynthesis, and is so complicated. And when you listen to people talk, when you listen to science, like I am dyslexic. I've never read a book in my life. Okay. I have to see it in video. I didn't
Yeah.
do good in
Yeah.
school. I'm a CD student.
Yeah.
I've been
That's me too.
self-employed since I was
100%.
18. All right.
Yeah.
I'm 49
Yeah.
now, but I've been
Yeah.
self-employed.
You're definitely not stupid. Like
No,
you're
no.
like me. You learn a completely different way
I
than what
learned
they
a
were
Oh
different way.
willing
yeah.
to teach you.
Exactly.
Yep.
When things go off, when the light bulb goes off, I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That's why that happened. That all the chains start to connect.
Yeah.
When I started listening to Clackamas Coote and Leighton Morrison and Matt Powers, and then you start getting into the James Whites, and all these different people that are putting out all this great information, like Brandon Russ, and there's so many different people that are out there just putting
So
out
many people.
science, like
Yeah.
real science. You know what I mean? And that stuff really
Resonates.
boggles
Yeah.
my mind, and I can't remember it all. But what I can remember are the basics. And that's
Yes.
what I think a lot of people misjudge all this. You know what I mean? It's extremely complicated, but it's not something that not everybody can do.
And I think it's
Once you
extremely
understand,
complicated to get to where you've gotten. But I think at some point, because you're creating this ecosystem, the biology is all there. At some point in time, and you might already be there, but at some point in time, this is gonna run itself. All you're gonna have to do is make sure there's water and put plants in it.
I'm a
Yeah.
steward. At this point right now, that's what I'm telling you. That's why I think it's going to continue to run, because I set the foundation properly. That's why Earth is here.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's why the bedrock, the foundation is key. If you're building a skyscraper on sand, you're done.
Yeah.
No
Hey,
doubt.
you
Yeah,
gotta have it.
that's a
And
good way to look at it.
you also have to replenish.
Exactly.
You have to replenish. Having a fish aquarium isn't easy. There's work
Right.
involved. Especially bringing it indoors. Thinking you're going to bring something like this indoors and not take care of it, that's a pipe dream.
Oh, and
You
it
have
could
to
go
be. You
bad
have
in
to
a
be.
big hurry if you didn't take care of it. I can
it would
imagine.
get- it would outgrow that whole room. It would
Yeah.
get crazy.
Yeah.
Even with the
It would
lights
be
off, things are still going to live.
it's a mini forest, really, is what
Yeah.
it is. Like
Yeah.
that's the start of a forest floor right there, and you just let that thing go and it will take off.
It will go. All I need is
Yeah.
a power source. And now what I've actually gotten into the electromagnetic side. I'm trying to learn how to ground everything. And what I just learned the other day was that I could actually take a piece of copper, like a sheet of copper, or even if
Yep.
I made a part of the roof out of copper, and then ran a ground wire from that copper wire from that copper down to another piece of copper, and place that copper into the room. Now that the plants will get sun, that sunlight will hit that copper sheet and transfer the ions that are coming down
Yeah.
through the copper into the room and not even need light.
Yeah,
And the
I've seen
plants
people
will
do that
grow.
outside before. I've seen people use that method outside where they put a piece of copper in the ground,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I haven't heard of too many people like I haven't really dug into it either, but I haven't heard of too many people like explaining the results afterwards. I've seen a lot of people do it, but I've never seen them go farther than starting it.
Well, there are
So,
people out there. I've been following a couple of guys that have been really doing it, and actually showing the results of it.
yeah,
Not just building some funky looking contraption and saying, "Hey guys,
yeah,
look at this what I built. It looks like a funky like tower." You know what I mean? Great. What
Yeah.
am I going to do with that? You know what I mean? Like, what am I supposed to do? Plant that in my garden? I'll do it. If you give it to me for free.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
But all it is a piece of. All you're doing is ground. I mean, you're grounding the system to the earth. Is all we're doing.
right.
and that matters. It's like taking your shoes off and your socks off and walking around out in the grass and grounding yourself to it.
Oh yeah.
There's that energy that those, I can't explain it. I'm not a scientist, but it works.
Sure.
Natural farming,
People people have
natural,
been doing it for a long time.
yeah, yeah. And before people were poo-pooing ferments, the fermenting different plants for plants, like fermenting cannabis for cannabis. People were like, "Oh, that won't work. The pH is way too low. Your pH is around 3.5." Well, in natural farm, in nature, that shit don't matter.
No.
That shit fixes
Exactly.
itself. I promise you. I'm not doing it. It's doing it itself.
Right.
Like, I've
And
just set the
it comes
foundation.
down to the health of the soil, the life in the soil. When you have
Yes.
the proper balance in your soil, the soil will pH everything for you. Your plants will only take up what it needs. It's just we don't
Correct.
go out in the forest and pH the rain that waters the trees.
Now, if you want to
You know
go
what
a
I
step
mean?
further than that, with because this is what most people that are watching us right now are probably growing in pots or growing in
Yes,
a 4x4 bed. What I have is cool, but most people that are watching the video, watching this, are growing in like what I was doing in like a 4x4. And I just realized that I needed more space. The more space you have, the more growth you have, the bigger the root, the bigger the fruit, da 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 da. The more space these critters have for a home, the more critters you're going to get.
of course. Yeah.
Which makes sense.
It's about diversity. So the only way to get diversity in a 4x4 bed, you're not going to get the diversity that I have. So I wouldn't attempt something like this in a 4x4, maybe a 4x8, like what Marco has. But he
Yeah.
didn't go to this extreme, and he doesn't have a freaking 200 gallons of water and then another 40 gallons in a creek. There's a lot of moisture in
Sure.
Oh yeah.
this room that has to be
So is that
deep.
something that you battle? Is humidity? Like, is
No,
that
no.
ever a
I
problem
just
for
bought
you?
an oversized dehumidifier. I just bought
Nice.
it over, and I'm pumping that clean water, which it is clean water because I tested.
Yep.
So it's clean water pumped right, excuse me, right back into the creek.
Perfect.
So that's topping
Nice.
it off. So like a water change, like you would do in a fish aquarium, you would
Yeah.
either in a freshwater aquarium, you would do it freshwater top off most of the time. Like as it evaporates, you put fresh water in, it keeps the system
Yep.
fresh and going. Same principle here. We're dumping the same moisture that we're sucking out of the air. We're dumping it right back into the system.
You're
This,
literally taking it full circle. That's so cool.
yeah, and
Yeah.
actually, at some points of the grow, I have to actually remove water. I have to take water out
Right.
of the pond because it's dumping
Yeah, because
too.
there's probably already some moisture in the air before that was ever there, and then you're adding that on top. Yeah, so that makes sense.
And I
Yeah.
know it's
That's
working. I know this is working. And I didn't really know that it was working until after this last run. So this is only my third run. So I'm still learning a lot. It's only my second run with these lights. And let me tell you,
right.
that's a whole nother episode on learning how to. I contributed to my gas pedal on my Ferrari because I got Ferrari lights, but I live on back roads. You know what I
Right.
mean? I can't go through shifted. I'll never see sixth gear. You know what I mean? I'll never see.
Yeah.
If I am,
Yep.
I'm in the woods. And I'm dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at
It
best,
won't work out well.
but I got to learn how to feather the throttle and work these lights to their max potential because these grandmasters are extremely powerful and will
Yes.
burn your plants. And I used to not think that there was possible to give them too much light, but 100% it is possible to give these
For
plants.
sure. Yeah. Now, because you have water in there and you have these lights right above it, do you
Yeah.
ever deal with any algae or anything like
Oh yeah.
that, or is it? Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's my food source though. See, and right now,
Yeah.
if you go to right now and look at the page, you'll see my elephant ears, my trees. These trees, which they are they're evergreen tree. Well, they're not evergreen trees. I call them elephant ears. I can't pronounce the scientific name of them. I call them elephant ears. You just get these huge, big elephant
Yeah.
ears. Go all around my property. They'll grow in any type of light, little light. It doesn't matter. So they're constantly growing. So they're constantly giving me those roots. Unlike when I cut the cannabis plant, I'm basically leaving those roots in, and those roots are getting eaten by biology. So
Yeah.
those are
Yeah.
food now for biology. But I still need those roots to continue the cycle. So I need living roots. That's where the grass comes into play. This is where the dog fennel comes into play. This is where basically the cover crops that you see that you would have in a 4x4, you're seeing in my bed but these cover crops stay all the time. And the roots go deep. So these are
Yeah.
tree roots. So these roots are going all the way down and puncturing through that clay layer. They're puncturing down and probably
Yeah.
getting down into the reservoir. And that's how I know it's working, is because when I cut the cannabis, I lose that suction and water ends up raising in the reservoir. So I look in my hole and the water will increase. And when I plant, and as the plants grow, the water decreases. So that's telling
interesting.
me
Because they're sucking more. Yeah.
that they're sucking enough water to
Yeah.
wick that water back up. So that means that my water consistency is perfect, because I want to see that excess when I don't have the plants in there. I don't want it sitting in my soil. I want it to drain down. So when those roots aren't there, it drops down. When they're there, it's not there. It stays right here. Those roots suck up all that extra water. And voila, there's your ecosystem. There's your cycle.
That's honestly something
Yeah.
that I never thought about. I've never had like the earth boxes or living soil beds or anything like that. Something where there's a reservoir. I
Yeah.
never thought about the suction that a cannabis plant or any plants for that matter would have.
Oh yeah.
And then
And
you
once I
cut it
got
down,
these
you
tree
take the
roots,
top, you take the suction part out of it and just leave the bottom of it. And then you
water
watch
fill.
your water levels change. I never thought about that.
Yeah. So and
Mhm.
now as these elephant ears grow, these roots are going to get deeper and deeper and get down in there. And hopefully, when I cut the cannabis plants, I won't see any water, because my elephant ears have gotten so the root mass has gotten so big that they're sucking up the excess water.
Yeah.
And everything else will just dial itself right in. And that's when I can add more sand and silt and clay and organic matter to the edge of the creek and wick it into the soil beds until I see more water coming down. So that's kind of how it played out. Well, how we started the conversation was like how I fixed the problem. And I fixed the problem by using the sand and silt as my regulator, as my throttle for the water. And I'm using the light system, basically the channels in the light, to adjust that as the for the plants to grow. So if I want the plants to slow down, I turn down the lights. This decreases photosynthesis. This decreases the microbes functioning down there. So they will slowly release the nutrients slower, so the plant won't grow as fast. You turn the lights up, the plant photosynthesizes more nutrient, more sugars down to the root system. The microbes crazy and start mining more and get excited and feed the plant more, and everything grows faster. This shuts down if you get too much water, though. So if they start to drown, there's a no. If they get
Back to
too
that
dry,
fine line
Yeah.
that we were talking about earlier.
if they get
Of
too
Yeah.
dry, this shuts down. So that 70% moisture level mark is where we need to stay. So dialing this in is where I'm at right now. So, and I'm noticing huge changes in moisture levels and the more of this sand, and I'm noticing this sand and silt, I'm literally turning sand and silt into soil. As that all that sand and silt that comes up over the creek and into all the worm, the more biology that gets in there, the more it breaks down, the faster it turns to soil, faster it turns to worm compost and basically aggregated worm compost, like worm castings,
Yeah.
made out of sand, silt, clay, and organic matter that's from the creek, which now goes into the soil, which now that's the bridge that we're making for the aquatic biology and the terrestrial biology. So now we're bridging that gap and connecting the two. So the roots can now connect to the creek and to this biology along with the soil biology. We're connecting the two, and we're giving water, the excess water, a place to go sit
Yeah.
and out for it to be sucked up. So that's how it
That's
all
crazy.
works. And as long as we got the lights, the system will continue to flow.
Yeah, and the lights is your speed control, like you kind of
Yeah.
explained. The
Yeah,
dial
Yeah.
on those lights isn't just to adjust your lights, it's the
it
whole
means
control of
everything.
your grow.
I see difference in algae growth. I see difference in plant growth. I see difference in a lot of things. A lot of different
Yeah.
things change when I when I change the light cycle. Everything changes, of course, but when I change the spectrum, I have the
Sure, yeah,
ability.
that's the other thing with those Grandmaster lights, like
Yeah,
they cover the
Yes.
whole thing.
yeah, I have the ability to actually to take out the reds that stretch the plants. And then when I take out the blues and add the reds, boy, I mean, I 5 days and that stretched like a foot. And it depends on genetics. But if they want to
Yeah.
stretch, if they want to
They
be,
will. Yeah.
if it wanted to be a big plant outdoors, okay, and get full of
Yep.
sun, that son of a bitch would have went through the roof.
Yeah.
It was because I had those
Obviously
blue lights.
you
I
gotta
had
kind of
nothing but
control
blue
that
light.
because it's indoors, yeah, or else
Yeah,
it
and
would be.
I kept
Yeah.
it short. It stayed short in that blue light. But when I hit that red, oh man, that thing took off. I was like, oh, let me get back to the blue.
Right?
That was
Let me
like
slow
the
this
gas
down a little
button.
bit.
It was. It was like, holy
It's
shit.
like the boost, the turbo.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's
it
cool.
matters. A big deal. It really does. Yeah. And then
That's crazy.
CO2 level in the room. That's a whole nother ball game.
Now is
Yeah,
that
we're
something that you
definitely gonna
control?
need good.
Oh yeah, we need a whole nother show for that. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's
Oh
for sure.
yes, we're definitely gonna
This
need you for part two because we almost at the hour.
well, anytime, guys. Anytime. Love being
yeah,
on.
we'd definitely love to bring you back for a part two sometime.
Oh my goodness, yes.
We brought a few people back for part two because they always end on like a cliffhanger, and you're like,
Cliffhanger.
oh man, I gotta know, I gotta know.
There's a
So
lot. There's
that
a
was
lot to this, but you know what I'm saying. Like I said before, it's simple, but it's extremely complicated. But
yeah,
once you
Oh
set
yes.
the foundation, then it's just about dialing it in and managing it, and you'll learn so much just doing a small terrarium, like in a jar. Like just research how to do a terrarium, and you'll learn so much just
yeah.
on how
And
That's
that's
cool.
the thing too, people don't realize is not only is it, like you said, complicated, but it takes a lot of time. Where on Instagram they see progress, but it's like it's not the same as in person. Like it took you
Yeah,
a lot of time to get where you are now.
a year almost to put
just to build
plant
it.
in
Yeah.
it.
But
Yeah,
I've been
Just to
researching
build.
3 years of it's like going through college, man. It's like put yourself
for
through
sure.
4 years of college. That's it. I started this in 2020, like the little research thing, and here we are in 2025, and here's where we are. This is what I got out of what I researched,
Yeah,
and it's
and
just
this is
about
just
where
the
you want to
start.
put your mind. You want to. I went back to nature. That's where I went to. I didn't
Yeah,
want to go into a grocery store and not know what I was reading. And then I realized I got this property, and that meant a lot. I live on 6 acres, and I have the ability and the resources to do what I did.
yeah,
Yeah.
But
that's amazing.
but it's so simple to do it in a 4x4 now. If I could easily, like doing a 4x4 now would be so easy for me. It would be, it would be so simple. I would be like, it's so basic. It's
You can go
making anybody
Child's
feel
play.
bad. But if you set it up right, I'm telling you, it's game over. It's game over.
I think that's part of the
Yeah.
reason why a lot of people, when they hear organics, they go, "Oh man, no, I'm terrified of that."
Yeah,
Because it is a lot of information all at one time. It is a lot of work, and yes, it can be very, very expensive at the start.
yes,
But once you build that foundation, like you're talking about, once that foundation is
never
built,
ending. It's never ending.
it's self-sustaining almost the rest of the time. All you have to do is make sure there's water and make sure that if you do have to add your layers on top of layers on top of layers, that you just keep up with that. But
You're
once
making
you build
content.
that foundation,
Yeah, and this is where we get into the IMO of natural farming, like Korean natural farming. This is where IMO, like
yes,
Chris Trump. Chris Trump is I'm a huge fan. You know, if you've never
yeah,
heard of Chris Trump, I highly recommend Natural Farming with Chris Trump on
yep,
YouTube.
Genome, that's a
Jadon.
amazing.
I took
That
all
book is
these
absolutely
things
amazing.
and put them
What's his
together.
name? Master Cho?
Master
Is that his
Cho.
name?
He passed away
Yes.
this year. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
Rest-
that.
yeah, he passed away this year. So rest his soul
That's sad.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
Yeah,
Yes,
but yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
it all connects. All these different things, the aquaponics, hydroponics, permaculture, all these different things, they all come together at one. In the
Yeah,
end, they all just zoom back into. You can go right out, go to your local or a mountain range, go to a stream and a mountain and look around. You'll see it. You know,
absolutely.
you just have to see. Yeah, it's a mindset thing. You know, you got to really
Yeah.
change mindset. Get off NPK and get the NATURE or whatever, however you spell nature. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm dyslexic, so don't forget.
yeah,
But that's all that's the big thing I want to get across to people. I want to be inspiration and show people that you can grow any way you want, anything. You know, not just cannabis, but food. Like if you need to, learn how to
Yes.
do it. You know, learn how
Yep.
to do it
absolutely.
without anybody else's help. Be able
Yep.
to go
20 years
outside,
from now,
your
who knows
stuff,
where we'll be?
and grow a plant.
20 years
Yeah.
from now, who knows where we'll be? It might be an episode of The
Never know,
Walking
man.
Dead. We don't know.
You
You know
don't
what I
know.
mean? And all cannabis growers, we're going to be the guys and the ladies that other people go, we're bringing those guys with us because they know shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want to. If that does happen in my lifetime, I hope we don't. But yeah, I want to be the person that knows how to grow food. You
Yes.
know, that's very important to me.
No food, no
Yeah.
life, right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
Exactly.
yeah.
So, hell yeah,
So
man. We
for
really, really
those,
appreciate you coming on.
we
Thank
do.
you for
For
having me.
those who haven't seen your grow and would like to check out what we're talking about, where can they find you?
Yellow Skunk Farms on YouTube and Yellow Skunk Farms on Instagram. And I think I'm on X too, but I don't post much on X because the format just isn't good for my eyes. So
Yeah.
I don't really like how I don't really like all the how X is laid
Yeah,
out.
I don't like X either.
Yeah, I don't either. But I'll make sure that when this gets posted, that all the links are down below in the description. That way people can
Cool.
click and
Yes.
go for
Cool.
sure. And Wednesday nights. Where are you on Wednesday nights?
Wednesday night. Oh yeah, that's new to me too. So I got to get used to. I'm on Let's Be Buds now. I'm on Let's Be Buds Wednesday nights at 9. Rick and the guys over there with Spartan Grown. Um, they've invited me to stay pretty much full time now, so I get to invite people,
Nice.
natural farmers that I've met, and get them on the show and ask questions and stuff like that. So tomorrow we got Clackamas
Awesome.
Coot, who was not he was Spartan. Spartan knows Clackamas Coot. But I'm going to get like Marco is growing and Kevin from OK Calix and Luna from Luna Whitcomb from Luna All Day.
Nice.
You know, these
Yeah.
natural farmers that have taught me a lot and got me to where I am. So I'm going to have
Yes.
those people on the show.
Nice.
And,
It's
yeah,
nice to be able to kind of look back at some of these people and go, I want to talk to that person, and then you get them on the show, and then you get to pay that respect,
To
Yeah,
that
them.
thanks to
dude,
them
that's all
for,
I've been doing. That's
you know,
all I've been doing this year is like, dude, I'm so overwhelmed with gratitude. You know what I mean? Because all this
yeah,
has just been so overwhelming with, and the people that got me here, I've just reached out to them constantly. Like Marco and Kevin, and they put me on their show. And before I was
nice.
building this, before it was on, and a lot of those shows aren't even on anymore. A lot of these people have
Yeah,
gone on and don't even do the show anymore. But yeah,
yeah,
it's definitely been a blessing for sure. And to have all of you guys doing it and everybody in the community keeps me going. Gets me up
yeah,
every morning. You know what I mean? So it helps me as well. So it's not just it's a I don't know, it's a hobby, and it's also
a
It's a
passion.
full
way
circle.
more than a hobby. Yeah, exactly. It's the
Yeah,
circle of life.
It all connects.
This ain't the
it sure
first one I'm
does.
going to do. I've already told people that I'm building a house. This is I'm living in. Me and my wife live in my grandparents' house, but we're going to be building another house on the same property. But I'm going to be building another one of these. So this is just a test run. So the
Right.
next
That's
one's going to be
crazy.
bigger, better. So, but I actually
Yeah.
know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You can tell based off of your passion, the knowledge that you've gained in such a short time already, that this is the ground floor for you. You can tell, I can tell that you've now hit the ground running and you're going for it now.
You're not stopping.
And yeah,
I
no,
need a
this is
microscope now. I got
just
to get a
just the
microscope
start.
now. Get a
Oh yeah,
microscope.
watching your soil would be incredible.
Yeah, that's what I got to
Seeing
do.
seeing it move, like that's a whole nother thing right there. The amount of people that if you post videos of that, so many people would be like, nope, no organic for me. And then you get people like me that would be like dialed
Yeah,
in. I want to know.
I've been watching this I Grow Soil. He was on Matt Powers' Our Soil, our Soil Summit that Matt Powers just had. And that's what he does. He shoots compost that he's making. Let me tell you, if you haven't checked that out, it's I Grow Soil.
I'm gonna write that down.
Let me make sure it's he spells it weird though. It's IGRO, I think.
Also, like, I can, but I grow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
IGROSOIL. I Grow Soil. He's only got 130 followers,
That's
but
okay.
check out his page. You will see. I talked to him last night actually, and I'm going to have him on the show. Um,
Nice.
and yeah, he's got some stuff down. He's down in Florida, and he's mixing. He's done with Leighton and
Mm-hmm.
mixing the aquatic with the soil compost, and he's got some crazy looking shit in his compost, dude.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you, but we'll save it for the next
Episode.
episode
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's cool, man. That's cool. Yeah,
for sure. But man, we so appreciate you coming on and talking with
we
us
do.
today. I don't
thank
know
you.
about you, Bunny, but I've definitely learned some stuff
I
for
learned some
sure.
stuff for sure. How
Me
could you
too. I
not?
mean,
My brain's tingly right now
Yep.
that's
for
what's cool
sure. No,
about this
that's
format. You can go back and listen to it and listen to it. And I've listened to the same videos over and over and over, and I learn something new every time. So that's what's cool
Yep.
about doing these sort of things. So this is how I learn. Like I said,
yeah,
I've never
me
written a
too.
book in my life. I can't do it. I
Yeah.
just don't have the brain to do it. Like I can read,
Yeah.
but I can't sit down and it goes blurry.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I got super, super severe ADD, and when it comes to that, like reading and stuff like that, it's just
yeah,
I have no interest in it. And it's
those are
not
the only
because I don't want to know
letters
what's
I
in
have
that
behind my
article.
name.
I just have no interest in it. Yeah, it's
I got
okay.
ADD, DH. Those are the letters I got behind my name. There's no PH behind my name.
So it's not Dr. Yellow Skunk Farm, it's
You ain't
Yellow
about
Skunk
to, no,
ADHD.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of like me. So I feel that. I fully understand, and it's it can be a struggle some days. But once
You
you
know,
kind of
I feel like a
once you
lot.
understand, you kind of
Yeah, well,
it
that
becomes
the cannabis.
manageable, right?
I think a lot of people who have that, have this. The cannabis is where I found relief.
Yes.
Cannabis is where this is how I got here. You know what I mean? The cannabis is how it all started with the cannabis. I needed to find my medicine because the medicine is what keeps me going and it's what keeps
Yeah.
my
Oh, yeah.
mind together. And some people don't understand that, but some people do. I
Yep.
find a lot of people in the community understand what I'm talking about. So
Yeah.
Oh,
A
yeah,
lot
for
of
sure.
that's what I love about the community. We're
yeah,
all different people, but we are so all like-minded
yep,
in different ways. You know what I mean? You grow one way, Bunny grows one way, I grow another way, but we all grow and we all get to the same result at the end of the day.
yep.
And
That's what it's all about, man.
so, and
Hmm.
we all do it
Pretty
for
cool,
different
man. Pretty cool
reasons.
that we have
But at
this.
the end of the day, we all do it and we all love it and we've all come together and we're all here talking about this plant. So,
That's right. That's right. It's pretty cool,
hell
man. I
yeah.
love it.
It is. But we appreciate you coming on, man. I can't thank you enough. And I definitely look forward to getting you booked for a part two real soon.
Yes, for sure.
Anytime,
For sure.
guys. Appreciate it.
Awesome. All right. Well, you have yourself a wonderful evening. And like I said, this is, yeah, it's going to be, I can't wait to go back and watch this. But
Cool, cool,
Yeah.
man. I appreciate you
Well, thank
guys.
you.
Well,
Yes,
just
thank you
send me
so
update.
much.
Yeah, hit me up anytime on Instagram. Whenever y'all want me to come back on, I'll be happy to come back on.
absolutely. Absolutely. All right, buddy. We appreciate you. And we're going to wrap her up.
All right. We'll see you next
Yes.
time.
Sounds good.
Have a great night.
All right. Bye bye.
What a great episode. I have learned so much. My
Oh
my
my
head
God.
is just like my brain is overwhelmed with knowledge right now.
You know when your arm falls asleep or something like that, and it's like pins and needles and tingly? That's like my brain right now. My brain is on complete overload, organic overload right now, and I love talking to organic growers, man. And this episode, we learned Yellow Skunk Farms has taken organic growing indoors to a completely new level,
Different level.
a
Yes.
level that I have never ever seen indoors before.
I cannot wait for part two.
Oh my God.
But
I think we
until
left off
then,
at a really good spot, and I am super excited to continue this episode because
oh,
I'm
same
gonna have to
here.
go back and rewatch this one like 3 or 4 times just so I'm caught up and followed along with him this far, you know what I mean? But
Yes.
the way he explained everything was so good. So good. Especially for people like myself. The way he explained it is so understandable. Like you were talking about the dial on his lights, turning his lights up and down. That's like his speed control, basically. He turns it up,
Hmm.
the growth happens crazy. He turns it down, he slows everything down again. And then it goes all
Yes.
the way back to the life in the soil, not just the plants, not just the roots, but the life in the soil. So amazing.
It was an amazing episode. And yeah, I don't even know what to
I
say.
know.
That's just how, like I said, my brain's like shut down with too much knowledge. But while I go and recuperate from all this knowledge, you could find us on Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern, where you could come show
Mm.
your garden and yeah, show us what you have growing on. And next Wednesday, you're going to have to stay tuned and watch our Instagram page to see who is our guest for that week.
Yes, yes. But until Friday, peace out.
We will see you then.